people who pay attention. I firmly believe that people who pay attention. So there are no free lunches means that, listen, to really have the things that you want in life, you have to be willing to pay the price. All right. Well, welcome back to another episode of the Champion Life podcast. I'm your host, Curt Tucker. Today, guys, I have an episode that was a game changer for me early on in my journey of personal development, especially as an entrepreneur. And so today we're going to talk about there are no free lunches. My original mentor, Jay Meyer, shared that with me early on in our journey as we worked together to begin to start helping me create not only a new vision for my life, but also new priorities. Because one of the things I want to encourage you to think about today is, maybe look at where you're at right now when it comes to your fitness, when it comes to your marriage, when it comes to your business. And if you're not where you want to be at, kind of like where I was all those years ago, one of the things that he said is, Curt, you're only going to be as good as your habits. And he said, basically, what you do day in and day out is going to say more and do more than, anything else that you can do. So if you really have this desire to level up and become, a better husband or a better father or a better leader or get more fit, everything is going to scale back to your habits. And so he said, let's look at your priorities. And he said, before we do that, though, I want to share with you something. I call it, there are no free lunches. All right. Now, I remember back in the day as a kid, growing up poor where, I was the one that got the free lunch, right? Like you just kind of skated on through because you were poor and they just went ahead and they just let you go on through where everyone else paid. And, in life, especially as an entrepreneur, one of the things that I like to say, and one of the reasons why I love to coach and do more coaching than ministry as I've kind of shifted and pivoted over the years is because one of the things that I firmly believe and why I personally have invested probably close to $150,000 to $200,000 in different coaches and consultants and seminars and all those things is because people who pay attention. I firmly believe that people who pay attention. So there are no free lunches means that, listen, to really have the things that you want in life, you have to be willing to pay the price. And so he began to start sharing with me, what he liked to call blessing generators in his life. See, most of us look at things and say, you know what? I don't know if I'm willing to sacrifice, doing this or doing that to get the result because to get a fit body it's going to require effort and discipline to not eat the things that you typically are used to eating, or you're going to have to spend time in the gym, or if you just launched a new business you may have to spend 60, 70, 80-hour work weeks because you're no longer an employee that you just have to show up 9 to 5, but it might require just an incredible amount of bandwidth and energy in the very beginning as you're building that new business and creating that foundation, or if it's something else. And so what he said was, Curt, I'm going to share with you, like what I'm going to share with you today, friends, a few of those blessing generators that many people might call sacrifices that created a foundation for his life to go to the next level. And I began to start implementing these same blessing generators into my life that absolutely was a game changer. So friends, today I want to encourage you to, number one, lock in. Number two is implement these blessing generators into your life, especially if you desire to go next level in some areas like your faith, some areas like your fitness, some areas like your family or your finances, because it's when you get those four pillars really dialed in, that's when you can then begin to start having fun and freedom in your life. And so blessing generator number one that was shared with me that I want to share with you today is a rising early. For him, it was 5 a.m. So I adopted that early on. For you, it may not be 5 a.m. It may just be getting up a couple hours earlier than you're used to. Okay, so pick a time that works well for you. But if you're used to sleeping in until 7:30, and then you're kind of hurrying and you got to get going to work or to the office or to do this or do that. The whole point is to arise about a couple hours earlier than normal so that the first thing that you can do, and that he did and he taught me how to do, was to have alone time with our Creator, to be able to spend time with God. Because here's the thing, no one is vying for your time at 5 a.m. like they are at 5 p.m. As a husband, as a father of four, as an entrepreneur with multiple businesses, there's so many things going on at 5 p.m. that for years would be pulling me in different directions. I coached all our kids' teams, especially in baseball. So you're working all day long, you're trying to get off, you're then trying to rush to get to a practice or to a game or to whatever, to where what he taught me was, hey, if I would be willing to just get up early so that I could have that quiet time with the Lord, so that I could get into the Word, so that I could pray, so that I could journal, so that I could collect my thoughts and really try to take time to just figure out my plan of execution for the day, especially spiritually, mentally, and emotionally, that was going to be a game changer for me. And so that is one of the first things that I adopted early on, friends, that was an absolute game changer for me. It gave me so much clarity where I was no longer rushing into my days, but I could just get up. I could go downstairs. My morning routine is to get up, within a couple minutes of waking up, I'm already giving God thanks for the day. I'm walking into to the bathroom. I'm putting my hand on my heart, looking in the mirror and saying, "Good morning, champion. Curt Tucker, I love you." I want to encourage you to do that. When you wake up first thing in the morning, to walk into your bathroom, look at the man or the woman in the mirror and just simply look them in the eyes, smile, and say, "Good morning, champion. I love you," and say your name. It's so powerful when you can start your day off with that love. And then I'll walk downstairs and I'll go ahead and get a pot of coffee brewing. I'll have some water with a little bit of lemon and some Baja Gold, mineral salt and a little bit of apple cider vinegar, drink that down. And I'll go upstairs and I'll get into my office where I'll just put on some worship music or some background meditation music. And I'll just sit there for the first 5 minutes, just myself, and asking God, "Hey, Father, talk to me. What do I need to learn today? Here's what's on my mind this morning." Asking the Holy Spirit for wisdom and just getting my day started off right. I'll then open up my Bible. Now, sometimes I do a Bible study. Sometimes I just read a proverb a day. That's a great place to start. Once again, if you're not used to reading scripture every day, read a proverb a day. For me at this point in my life, friends, it's just whatever is on my mind, on my heart that morning, I go to the Bible and I read, a couple verses, a chapter, whatever. And then I begin to journal, right? I begin to start writing down at the top of my journal, maybe a verse or two that stuck out at me. What am I thinking? How am I processing this? Why is God illuminating this verse, to me this morning? How can I apply this to my life? The other morning it was Matthew 6:29 that says, "Who of you by worrying can add one single hour to your life?" Man, isn't that powerful? Do you ever struggle with worry, by the way, friends? When you have a lot going on and you're trying to manage a lot of different things, that can very easily come into your life, right? And so I love that verse. "Who of you by worrying," Jesus said, "can add one single hour to your life?" Basically, what he's saying, friend, is don't waste time in worry. Even if it's a second, a minute, you will never get anything by worrying. There's a lot of things that you can think about, but there's nothing to worry about. And so as I'm taking that time first thing in the morning to be by myself, all right, I firmly believe that has created so many blessings in my life. It's created peace in my life. It's helped me to think about my days and say, okay, what are the most important things that I need to do today? What do I need to focus on? Because I've slowed down to speed up and created that as a foundational part of my day. So that's blessing generator number one, is to get up early and to go spend some time alone, with God, in devotion, reading the word, journaling, and just getting your mind right. And then I like to flow into the rest of my hour of power. If you want more on that, send me a DM. I'll send you my hour of power, or you can get it in my book, The Champion Life Playbook. All right. Number two, blessing generator, as he said, I go and I work out, and once again, he said, hey, listen, I could go and I could work out after work. But once again, when you have family and there's kids and, you've got different things going on, I don't want to take away from those relationships, in the day when they're available. So for my kids, they weren't up, all those years. We would get them up for school, get them ready, get them on the bus, take them to school, but they typically wouldn't wake up until about 7 o'clock. So that gave me time early, as long as I got up early enough to not only spend the time with the Lord and to go through everything I just talked about, but now I also had time to take care of myself physically and get that workout. And typically when I would work out, and just like I still do today, I'm also feeding my mind. I'm listening to podcasts. Very rarely do I listen to music. Sometimes I will, but mostly it's listening to podcasts like this, like what you're listening to. It's listening to YouTube videos. It's learning a new skill. It's just feeding my mind as I'm training my body. And so at 6 a.m., I like to get that workout in. Now, things have changed for me over the years, because now I don't have that same demand of, 4 kids, getting them ready for school, doing all that kind of stuff, as now our kids are a little bit older. Our 2 youngest just graduated this past year. And so I have a little bit more freedom and flexibility. But for many, many years, this is what I needed to do so that I could be my very best. And I always tell people, listen, the sooner that you can spend time doing the most important things in your life, the priorities, the better. So for me, I've always wanted to do these things early. So I would just get to the gym, I would train my body, or, work out at home in my basement, whatever you got to do to make it convenient. But that workout every single day, where you're now training your body physically to be stronger, is a must. And so once again, the time that you're going to put in today training your body, I firmly believe, is going to set you up for later on in life. And let's just be real, fitness, working out, it is the best drug a person can take. It's the best drink. It's the best drug. It's the best Prozac. When you're working out on a daily basis, there's so many benefits. You literally are flooding your body with all kinds of different things like dopamine and serotonin. You're building muscle, you're burning body fat. You just feel good for the rest of the day knowing that you did it. For my guys out there, I just challenge you, do 100 push-ups a day. If you need to start at 10, then do 10 sets of 10 push-ups. And there you go. Less than 10 minutes, you can have 100 push-ups in. If you're a little bit stronger and you can do, 5 sets of 20, do that. 4 sets of 25, 2 sets of 50, whatever it is. Generally, I like to do 4 sets of 25. So in less than 4 minutes, I can get in my 100 push-ups as I'm walking around the path, or I add that to my workout, because now all of a sudden it's just one more thing that I did each and every day, is a discipline that at the end of the day says, hey, listen, I'm winning here. So that's blessing generator number 2, is to get your workout in early. The third one that he said was that, hey, I committed to giving 10% of my income and an additional 5% as just extra above and beyond, because he just said, I was blessed to be a blessing. All right. For me, when I first started giving, friends, it was $40 out of 400, because we were so broke financially and we had lost everything, and that's all we had. And can I tell you today, it is such an honor and a gift to give. We are firmly blessed to be a blessing. And so when you give and you support others, whether it be your church or certain charities, or just, I like to walk around with $100 bill in my pocket at all times, more than that, but, at least 100, where sometimes when God just says, you know what, bless that person, you can just reach out and say, here you go. I just want to bless you today. There you go. The fourth blessing generator that he said was that in the early years of his business, he would work 60, even sometimes 70 hours a week, to build the foundation of that business so that as his kids got older, that business would be more sustainable and that he could do the things that he needed to do. And I was like, man, that was so foundational for me, because what happened was, now, because I created these disciplines early of getting up at 5 and spending time in devotion. And it's really unique to look back on your journey and your history, by the way, which is why I want to encourage you to journal. There is such power in journaling. Jim Rohn says that there's certain things that you're going to leave your family that are going to be worth more than anything. One of those is your journals, where you're able to essentially write the book of life of what your life looked like, right? And all those things that you put in that someday you will leave your children's children, as it says, in Proverbs, that a wise man leaves his children's children an inheritance. And yes, I believe that that's financially an inheritance, but it's also not just what we leave, for our kids, but it's what we leave in them. It's the wisdom. It's the things that we teach them. It's the things that they will see us doing on a daily basis. And obviously our journals, where they're going to be able to go back and they're going to be able to see, this is how this person lived. And it's very powerful when you're able to go back, and look and say, wow, in that season of life, that was what was going on. I remember March 15th, 2010, friends. March 15th, 2010, it was Rachel's birthday. And I woke up in that devotion time. I had already been saved for probably about 4 years at this point, was leading a men's fit ministry at my church. That you probably maybe heard this story before. We had a faith-driven fitness business. I was really doing my best to grow. And the one thing that continued to come back, that the good Lord was convicting me of, was that I needed to quit smoking pot. I was so locked in and believed for so long that I needed that I couldn't live without it, that it helped me sleep better at night. It allowed my brain to shut off because I'm just a kind of go, 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 go guy, to where one morning he just said, you don't need this. I want you to trust me. And I need you to do something of courageousness, to get this out of your life. And what I did was I sent an email that morning to Mike Slaughter, my pastor at the time, because I knew that I needed to let somebody know that I was making this decision. I needed that accountability, and I needed to get that darkness into the light, if you will. And I sent that email, and that set us free, friends. 15 days later, I quit drinking alcohol for a season on April 1st of 2010. In that year of 2010, literally, we springboarded, more than probably any other year that I can think of, in so many different areas of our life. And it was absolutely incredible. But it was from that one decision that I don't believe I would have made. I would have had the courage or the clarity to make if I wouldn't have been taking time to get up super early and just spend time alone. So there's such power, friends, in these blessing generators that I'm sharing with you today when we're able to take time and do what we're talking about. So I want to encourage you, to dial in on these things, especially if you want to make more money in your business or in your career. Because what happened was, now since I began to start doing these things at 5 a.m. and 6 a.m., I had more time throughout the day and more focus to put those hours that were required into our business at the time, to lead our team, to be able to travel and do the things that I needed to do. But I had those priorities as a foundation to where I could be at my very best. And I believe that's why we had such an explosive year that year, that literally was foundational for so many things that I'm even doing today. So friends, I want to leave you with this last one, okay? Because we've talked about these blessing generators. We've talked about getting up early, spending that time in devotion, the working out, the giving, and then obviously the putting in the work in your business. But I want to leave you with this last one is, understanding that you might be in a season right now, just like I was then, where you might need some additional help. Okay. And understand that a coach is not a crutch. Okay. It's somebody that is going to help you level up and see things like what my wife calls is the blind spots in our life, where there's just sometimes things that we can't see, but they're there. And at the end of the day, it's when we can understand those things that are holding us back, we can then set things into motion that are going to help us go next level. And then most importantly, there's accountability there to where we follow through. That's when we get the results that we're looking for. So if you're in a season of life right now where you've been trying to do these things that I'm talking about all by yourself, but you're not doing them or you're not getting the result, it might mean that you need some help. And so one of the things that I'm doing for this month is I'm offering a 30-minute call, personally with me. Normally I don't do these calls, but a 30-minute call personally with me where we can take a look at where you're at in your life. Most importantly, where do you want to go, and see if you're a fit, okay, to be able to become part of the community with Champion Builders Academy, where we are doing life at a higher level and creating the accountability that I believe that we need to go next level as men and women, because we're doing a lot of things with people in their marriages as well. And so if that's of interest and you feel like that would be beneficial for you, book a call. You'll see links in some of the show notes and things of that nature. And I want to leave you with this, friend. As I firmly believe, as you begin to start creating these blessing generators in your life and you begin to expand your vision, you begin to start thinking about the things that you want to do in your life as they are 100% possible, as Mark 9:23 says, that all things are possible to those who believe. If we don't believe that something is possible, we won't begin to start taking the action. We will talk ourselves out of it. We will say, I'm not good enough. I can't do that. I don't have the time. I don't have the money. We'll look for all the reasons why we can't, versus all the reasons why we can. I firmly believe that it's never for a lack of resources that we can't get what we want in life. It's resourcefulness. Okay. So I want to encourage you today, friend, to think bigger than you ever have before in your entire life, to know that it's possible, to know that you might have to make some serious changes. You might have to go and do things that you've never done to get things that you've never had, but that's okay, and that it's possible. All right. So I want to thank you so much for spending some time with me today. I want to encourage you to implement these blessing generators that we've talked about today into your life. And then also, if you need some extra help in a couple of these areas, reach out, book a call with me, and I'll see you on the other side. God bless.